a man of love, a man of humor, a man of greatness, a man of creativity, was taken from us way, way too suddenly. But his life was not taken from us. The definition of the word life is the animate extinction of an individual. Arthur Gugick may never walk down the halls of Beachwood High School again, but his legacy will. That right there, his legacy, is his life. Mr. Gugick's life is continued through our memories with him, because life is an ongoing thing even after you pass away. We keep Mr. Gugick's life alive by remembering the lessons he taught us inside and outside of the classroom. We remember all the hilarious jokes and the puzzles and the riddles he shared with us. We remember his stories and experiences of his world travelings. We remember that he was so much more than a math teacher, but a life teacher. We remember the kind ways, we remember his wiseness, and we remember his legend status that that will keep his life alive. Hello, my name is Joseph Spero. I am a junior here at Beachwood, and I was a current student of the beloved Mr. Gugick. I would like to take this time to pay my condolences to the Gugick family and his girlfriend, Barbara Becker's family. We lost two great people, and great is an understatement. It's such an unnecessary and horrific accident. I think a couple of words that describe Mr. Gugick perfectly is an adventurous, all-knowing practicalist. The reason I say this is Mr. Gugick knew that there may be 1,000 different ways to do a math problem, but he taught his students the most practical way. Not the easiest, but the most practical. But the thing that is so impressive is that he knew every one of the other 999 other ways to solve that exact problem. Staying after school and just talking with Mr. Gugick about life was the highlight of my week and of my year. Another example of him being practical is when he realized his students were abusing their bathroom privileges. So he took, Mr. Gugick put a big old mesh office supply holder in the back of the room so that this would be, known as his bathroom pass. And only one student could leave the room at a time as they would heave it to the bathroom. It was as simple as, if the supply holder wasn't in the back of the room, you had to wait until the person came back. So of course, he hooked a little Purell bottle to it because, it's the bathroom. That's just the humor and the energy that Mr. Gugick just supplied on a daily basis. Mr. Gugick was his adventurous self when it came to his travels, his use of street smart, his humor, and of course inside these walls of Beachwood High School. He literally, on the first day of class, before even saying a word to any of the students, solved a Rubik's Cube behind his back. He was definitely not afraid to step outside of his separate comfort zone and the box when it came to educating, as we all know. For example, the week before spring break, we were learning how to divide polynomials. And he noticed a downhearted vibe throughout the classroom during the lesson. He stopped teaching and said to us, "I know this year has been rough for many different reasons, but there is only one way we are going to fix that. It is if we come together as a singular tribe." He referenced the 12 tribes and that everyone that is in a tribe has something in common, and that's why people in tribes work well together. It could be the most simple of things, like liking the same song or working together to help others. So we shared with our class. that he was sitting in his room after school one day grading papers, and he heard some students arguing in the hallway. Mr. Gugick was surprised with what he was hearing, so he invited the students into his classroom. They sat down, and Mr. Gugick presented the students with a book filled with pictures of his 1-year-long trip around the world. He then saw the students after and realized the tension had been obviously minimized between them. He came to the conclusion that these two students were now a part of the same tribe when they looked at the book together. So he offered us to find ways to create tribes to make Beachwood High School and the world a better place. He said that any day could be your last, so just be kind. Mr. Gugick saw the potential in his students and colleagues. He was able to take his life experiences and project those throughout each and every school day, whether it was in his classroom, in meetings, or in the hallways of Beachwood High. He had an impact on his students and people all around the world within the LEGO community and so much more. We all saw him as a humble genius, even though he made jokes about how smart he was, but he was pretty humble. I remember seeing him and his girlfriend Barbara, as he liked to call her, his lady friend, at the Beachwood football games, and she attended all kinds of other school functions that he didn't even need to be at, but he felt obligated to come because he was so invested in his students and he cared so much, and obviously people cared about him so much. All he wanted was to make us all part of the same tribe, to make the world a better place. But now, as I stand in front of you, the Beachwood community, Gugick's family, we now follow his vision. We are all now part of the same tribe, as we all remember the great individual who was Arthur S. Gugick, because his life will never die because of our experiences with him that we remember. Just like how his humor, his authenticity, and his kindness leaves a legacy that will never be forgotten. Thank you.